welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about, as promised I will add, how to make older, more mature hooded eyes more, how can I say this, flatter, look less wrinkly, so that you can put eyeshadow on, and not just mattes and boring eyeshadows, so you can wear any eyeshadow to make the top part, especially if you've got wrinkly upper eyelids, to make them appear less wrinkly. Now, it's never going to take away everything, and it's not going to fix it, but it will help, and it will enable you to wear more choice in eyeshadows, especially if you're a lady, a more mature lady, let's say that, who wants to wear colours still, because you're not over the hill and past it. You still want to wear trendy colours like everybody else. I mean, where I got started on this idea, I'm 45, and probably about 5 years ago I was looking desperately at YouTube, looking for a video, and there's lots on here, but nothing specifically about, I was looking for what primer could I wear to make my eyes less wrinkly. There's lots of videos on hooded eyes, there's just not many on how to take away the wrinkles in your eyes, and I came to the conclusion there just wasn't a way. And so I started experimenting, basically trial and error, because I was desperate just to find a way so that I didn't look like an old woman every time I wore eyeshadow. Now, I've got hooded eyes. I'm raising my eyebrows because I'm speaking to you, but they are naturally, if I sort of hold my face still, hooded, as you can see. Can you see? And I've always had hooded eyes. Excuse my hair, it's in the way. So this is a look and a way to make people with hooded eyes be able to wear colour and any shadows they want, and with wrinkly, more mature eyes. Right, let's get started. First things first, it starts with your skincare, and I will do subsequent videos of all of that, but for now I'll just do the eye bit, okay? So every evening, if I'm not using a retinol, if I am every morning, I will exfoliate my eyelids. Now, I don't mean a gritty exfoliator. I mean a glycolic or a salicylic or a lactic acid. Now, the ordinary do one. This one's a glycolic acid, 7%. Now, you probably are aware that glycolic acid toning helps with crow's feet, texture, brightening, wrinkles, sun damage. It basically gets rid of all the dead skin, helps any texture, brightens your skin sort of tone up, and helps with crow's feet, really. This stupid hair, I'm going to tuck it back here. I do apologise, guys, I look a wally, but it's getting in my way. Okay, now I do that. There are lazy days when I will just take a magic cloth at one of these makeup things. You can pick these up anywhere. I think Primark even do them for £1 now, according to Nadine Baggett. They do anyway. And this is just a mini one. And I'll go over my eyelids. That's on a lazy day. But as a rule, I would use a glycolic. I put it on a cotton wool ball. And as I do my whole face, I also lightly just buff over my eyelids with it. And that will take away any dead skin. Next, I moisturise them. And when I say moisturise, I mean I really moisturise them. I would use something with CoQ10 in at night time, but just a thick, your normal daily moisturiser, but quite a thick layer. And I'd go off, have my tea before I do my makeup, anything like that. Let it sink in. Don't rub it in. I put loads on. Let it sink in, and it will just sink into the skin, especially after you've toned, okay? I'm just looking over here because I got products over here. But then in the evenings, I would use, this one's just from Amazon, but you can Nip and Fab do a great one. They're just, everybody does them. But CoQ10, brilliant stuff. It brings back all the collagen in your skin. And in my in-depth skincare routine video, which I will do, I will tell you all about the ins and outs of all these creams. Right. Then I'm ready and I start thinking about my eye makeup. Now, here's where it gets a bit technical. Right, I want to obviously have my eyes flat at the top. So what I will do is, in the morning I've glycolic acid, I've put lots of moisturiser on. I would then go in and I would put a drop of jojoba or any oil. Doesn't have to be jojoba, doesn't have to be jojoba oil. Any oil you have to hand, obviously not a retinol oil or something, you know. And when I say a drop, I mean I work like I would take the smallest drop on the back of my hand, one drop, just like that, pass them off, and I'd rub it on my eyelids. I would then leave it for a minute whilst I'm doing my foundation or brows or whatever I'm doing. Let it soak in, okay? Then, gets worse, I would then take either, now this is the bit which you'll find strange, but trust me, just trust me on this one, lip salt or Vaseline, okay? I would then take the smallest smudge, and usually if I've got a jojoba oil and I don't need it, I wouldn't do this step, so this isn't necessary. It's just something I do as an extra if they're very dry, and I just take a bit like that. That's enough for both eyelids, and I'd rub it on. Again, I'd leave it for a minute, make sure that's very rubbed in, take a tissue and blot it if I have to, so it's not greasy. Then, once I've done that, I go in, and this is important, with a silicone primer. When I say silicone primer, I mean something like, this one's a good one, porefesional, it minimises pores from Benefit, and then the ordinary do one which you can get on Amazon for a few quid. It's no more than £6, and you can get it on Amazon, their website, all sorts of places. And I put the silicone primer all over my eyelids and slightly under, so it covers this part too where I might want to wear concealer. So there and there, okay? Then once I've done that, I would then, my foundation sponge, if I've already done my foundation, take the sponge with some left on it, and I would go over my eyelids with the foundation. Or I would take, now this is like a matte paint pot equivalent, but it's the cheap version basically. Either this is by Avon Mart range, and as you see it's like a matte paint pot. One of these, or this one's from W7, which you get on Amazon, which is even cheaper. It's about £1.99, and it just takes the colour out of your lids. So you know how you get the veins and the redness and little red bits here? Well, I do. I get like red sides, you know. This would then even your skin tone up. So if you don't do your foundation, or you can do both, sometimes I do, depending, you know, it depends what eyeshadow I want to use. The more steps you do in this, the more even it's going to be, okay? It just depends how much time you've got as well, to be perfectly honest with you. And trial and error, see what works for you, because I'm not saying what works for me is necessarily going to work for you. I take a tiny bit, because when you are older, less is more with most things, apart from this. And it's because of the fact that you're trying to hide these wrinkles. And so basically the foundation, or depending on which you use, I mean I tend to use quite a sheer foundation, so sometimes it doesn't necessarily, after the porefesional, take out, you know, all the discoloration or anything. So these are great, or the matte paint pot if you've got that. These are just cheaper alternatives, to be honest with you. And then I powder it. Now this bit's careful, you've got to be really careful with this bit. I take something like either Charlotte Tilbury airbrush powder, another good one's Maybelline Fit Me, or this number 7, it's the loose one. And the reason I say those ones is they're so finely milled. You want something to, it's literally like silk. It's got to be really, really finely milled. Now after you've put the porefesional on, if you run your finger over your eyelid, it will be so smooth. You want to keep that smoothness in. So you don't want a big, thick, heavy, glossy powder on there. And you want to take the smallest dusting. I use the Real Technique setting brush. Just go over the eyelid with one swoop. Literally, I tap off most of the powder, just so I've got something for my eyeshadow to cling to. So once I've done that, you're thinking, how many steps is this? This woman's insane. But trust me, it will work. It's taken them many years to try and, well, as I say, perfect it. But you're never going to get it perfect. There's one thing for sure. Once you get to the wrong side of sort of 40, it's all downhill from there, I'm afraid. And I'm that age, and it's all downhill from here. You just keep trying to, like, think of ways to get it back together, you know. Oh, there's nothing good about aging. I'm not enjoying the process. I'm just trying to make it easier, you know. Then I would go in with my eyeshadow. Now, a very important part of this is the brushes you use. Why I say this, let me find one. If, for example, I took like this, which is when you get with the Anastasia palettes, you know, a scratchy brush, and they're not bad brushes, but they're quite cheap and scratchy. You're going to just micro exfoliate your eye with this if you're blending. So, you know, you're doing like your circular motions or your windscreen wiper. What you're doing is you're kicking up all the dead skin that might be left behind after you've acid, and you're going to raise the surface of it and make it all bumpy again, and you don't want that. So what you want is a really ultra soft brush set. Now, here we go. If you've got money to burn, okay, the Matt Goss ones, Wayne Goss, Matt Goss was like a Bros, wasn't he? Shows my age. Wayne Goss ones are brilliant. I love these. And they're like natural hair, and they are the softest brushes you'll ever feel. They're like silk. But if you haven't got money to burn, and not everybody has, Real Techniques do the powder blue range. And again, they're almost like real hair. You wouldn't know the difference. They're quite middle of the range, reasonable. Delium, these are £9.50 for this blending brush, which is not cheap, but it's not on the Wayne Goss levels. Okay, they're another good one. But if you're looking for lower still, if you go on Amazon, these are brilliant brushes, and I would recommend these to anyone. I've bought 3 or 4 sets. They're called MSQ, and they cost me £4.99. I will put all the details below in the description box for all of this, and the steps for you as well, because I know it's confusing. And you get a pack of 6 for £4.99. I think it's £4.99, it might be £3.99 even. And these are just as soft as this one and as this one. And they are brilliant little blending brushes. And I'll tell you what, that has been washed and washed and washed. I would reach for these sets so often, nearly daily. They're brilliant, okay? So, as I say, bargain. And they're MSQ brushes. Now, so you've got your brushes sorted. Now you choose your eyeshadow. Now, you can wear whatever eyeshadow you please. Today I've got the Mini Lila palette by Natasha Denona on. And as you can see, there's shimmers in it, and it's just a case of where you put things. But also, if you look, I've come high up, and because I've got hooded eyes, I've had to, otherwise you wouldn't see the colour, with the dark colours and all the rest of it. I wear whatever eyeshadows. I love Modern Renaissance, I love the ABH, the Norvina, and I will put a photo of a close-up of my eye, and I'll put one up of if I can find one of me with no makeup. It's not a good sight. And if I can't, I'll have no makeup on in the skincare routine anyway that I do, either the one after this one. So you'll see just how bad they are. But I've got this one on today. And like I say, it's just always remember to highlight just under the brow. Don't go right the way along, because you'll push your eyes down. You'll make them look older. Always blend upwards. And what a little tip is, because I've got hooded eyes, I obviously take the colour above the crease line. So my crease is down here, the colour's above it, if you can see here. And if you look at this line here, I know I put the blue on top of the red, but this beautiful red here and this one, those are the colours here. Now I think the deeper one I put on my outer corner to deepen it, but I took that down. You know, you do like a reverse 7. Instead of stopping at the lid, I go down onto my lower lash line with it. That way you keep your eye as more like a cat eye. So you're bringing your colour round and up, you see? So your eye's going like this. You're not breaking it up at all. And then when you do your highlight, which is this inner corner bit, and I did it with a goldy colour here, which I've got on the lid as well. Rather than, you see these young kids just do a dot, don't do that. You take your highlight, run it along there, this is too big a brush, round and just slightly under onto the lower lash. So you're making your eye that shape, more like a cat eye really, so they're up and sort of pulling it that way. And then that way you're going to bring your eye up. Always remember, lift your eye this way. If you need it and you're not very good with this bit and it goes everywhere, I've used some sellotape or some of those shadow shields, and then never come out further than the end of your brow. So if you bring your eyeshadow out here, you're naturally going to drag your eye down. So never come out further than that. Anyhow, you can wear whichever, and oh, one more tip, but I'll finish my sentence. So whichever eyeshadow you wish. And I use all sorts of colours. This is beautiful. I had Pat McGrath on yesterday, deep blues. I obviously, a lot of the time I wear normal matte neutral shadows, okay? And I will do the best neutral palettes for older eyes, and I'll do the best coloured palettes for older eyes as well, because certain consistencies aren't the best. This I found lovely, but it is a very high-end palette. But I'll tell you some that are great, especially if you've got these wrinkles. Blink. They're an eyeshadow brand I hadn't heard of before I saw them on Amazon. And I was looking through, and it was clay eyeshadows, but not just clay. It said we're a cream, a clay and a powder all in one. Perfect for mature eyes. So I thought I'll order it and try it. Sure enough, the consistency of it is such a good consistency. I'll put that down in the description box as well. That it covers those wrinkles up, even if you didn't do most of these steps and you just used a primer. Also Tarte's good because they're clay shadows. Another good one is cream shadows, Clinique, Charlotte Tilbury, even W7. Everybody does those stick things these days, or the cream. The Stiller Metals, and you can get cheaper versions of them. Basically, the darkest one, and I forget her surname, I'll link her channel down below, does a wonderful one with a dark colour called Twig. It's like a deep brown shimmer, but it hides the wrinkles, and she brings that shimmer shade right up here. And you won't see the wrinkles because of the consistency of the shadow. So always think about that as well. It's not just the primer and these steps, it's what you're putting on top of it. And as I say, with this, I can wear anything on top. But as a rule, if I'm in a rush, I want something I can grab, and I don't go for all this rigmarole. And I would reach for a clay palette, that Blink palette, or a cream shadow. And that way, you can just go for it, not worry you out the door, and you haven't got to worry about wrinkly eyes. Also a good one, ladies, and mine are not a good example at the moment. They really need dyeing and tinting. Brows. Brows will frame your face and make your eyes look younger. As I said, ignore mine. They need tinting really, really badly. And so I've just forgotten about my brows today. I've given up on them today. They will be tinted tonight, I expect. I only use one of those Eyelaw home kits and tint my brows, but it makes a huge difference. It's very difficult when you're fair, and I know it's dye, but it's difficult. You don't want great big black brows, and even most of the crayons are too dark. But that's another thing. And the right shape brow makes a huge difference as well. You don't really want one of these really curved tails. Try and sort of make it straight, although they do curve because your eyes droop when you're our age. And you want to try and get, if necessary, don't even have a big full arch. Go with your natural brow as much as possible, because that's the brow shape that suits you the most. So rather than these great big, false Instagram brows, don't go for that at like over 40. It looks silly with these coloured in brows. Go for more natural. more natural shape brows, and it'll flatter you rather than make you look silly. But there you go. That's my tip on how to de-wrinkle your eyes underneath eyeshadow. And as I said, and I did this because of searching high and flipping low, and it was all hooded eyes. Nothing told me, and primers, it was just like Urban Decay and all the rest of it. Well, I know, but they don't particularly cancel out wrinkles, which was specifically was what I was looking for. But this will, and like I say, hopefully you'll like it. If you do, please subscribe and give me a thumbs up. I do have my next video is going to be a skincare video on how to resurface your skin and how to make your foundation look flawless so your wrinkles don't show up. Covering lines around your mouth, marionette lines, and I actually don't bother covering mine because they don't worry me too much. But if they do, I have a way to do it. And these little lines that you get, I haven't got many, to be honest. I don't know. I have to have a look. But I can show you a way to cover these too. And I will do all that with my skincare and foundation review. And I shall do that, hopefully it will be up, this will be up tonight, which is Wednesday. And so, is it Wednesday? Yeah, it's Wednesday. That one will be up by Friday morning, guys. So I will hopefully see you again. I do lots of videos. I'm going to be doing lots of reviews and different eyeshadows, all sorts, and a lot for mature skin. I've got a big one coming up on tretinoin and the realism of it, not the fabrications that you necessarily hear all over YouTube. The truth about tretinoin. Okay, everybody, hopefully I will see you all again. And if I don't, please take care of yourselves. Bye, everyone.